So this video is based on investment appraisal, and it's looking at payback period. So the payback period, it calculates the length of time it will take to pay back an initial cost of an investment. Now the investment could be anything. The investment could be a new factory being built. It could be based on capital goods being purchased. So it could be any type of investment that a company makes, and what it's looking at is, well, how long will it actually take for this investment to be paid back? And in exam questions, you may see it when it's looking at two different options. So for example, two different factory sites, and you may have to calculate which one has the fastest payback period. So I've created 3 steps in calculating payback period. Now, if you remember these 3 steps, then you'll be absolutely fine. It's quite straightforward, the technique of calculating payback period, but you just need to make sure that you're doing it in the right order. So, number 1, first what you need to do is calculate the year in which the cost will definitely be paid back, and then calculate the month in which it'll be paid back. So what you need to do is you add up all the net cash flows until you have enough to cover the initial investment. Now, based on the cash flows, you probably will get it so it's not exactly the exact amount. You may have, in a certain year, your cumulative cash flow might be actually higher than the initial investment, and therefore that's why payback period becomes a little bit more specific. So what you calculate is, what year will it be paid back on? Consider the difference as to how much it'll be paid back for. And then for number 3, calculate the amount still needed, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. So so calculate the amount still needed for the capital and divide it by the net cash flow for the year, which has been paid off by, and then multiply it by 12 to calculate the month of payback. Sometimes the answer will be wanted in weeks, so therefore you can multiply it by 52. So the best way to carry out payback period is just to practice. Get lots of questions, have a go, and the more you practice, you'll realise how easy it is. Okay, so I've got this graph, this question from Tutor to You. So it says an investment of £500,000 is expected to generate the following revenues, costs and cash flows over the 5-year life of the project. So what I want you to do, I want you to pause the video and have a go at, first of all, just calculating the cash flow and calculating the cumulative cash flow as well. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, so you should have the following answers. So as we can see, in year 0, this is the start of the investment. So within the beginning stages, you've made the investment of £500,000. So we can see that obviously that comes away from the business. It's an outflow, and therefore the cash flow will be minus 500,000. As it's year 0, we don't know about revenue. We don't know about outgoing continuous costs. So what we've got is a cumulative cash flow of minus 500. Year 1, we start to see revenue, possibly from the investment. So again, we see that in year 1 we've got 150,000. However, costs are still at 200,000. Our profit is minus 50,000, but also our cash flow is at minus 50,000 as well, because the only inflow that we have got at this moment in time is from revenue. So we can carry on having a look down and see the different cumulative cash flows, different cash flows as well. So what you need to look at now is, when has the investment actually been paid off? Okay, and what we can see is, if we go down the cumulative cash flow, so if we go down this and we look for the point of a positive, so we can see here at year 4, we've got our first positive cumulative cash flow of 250,000. So we know at this point, okay, just heading towards year 4, we have paid off this project. So what that tells us is, at some point between year 3, so at some point between year 3 and year 4, this project was paid off. But what we need to do is we need to find out the exact time, or the exact date, or in how many months, this was paid off. So again, if we have a look at the calculations below, we know that it's going to be paid off by year 4. So it's going to be before year 4, so it's going to be at some point during year 3. Now in year 3, we can see that we are still, at the beginning of year 3, we still have 200,000 to pay off. So what we get is, we get that 200,000 that's needed, and we divide it by the 450,000 in terms of cash flow in year 4. So we do 200,000 divided by 450,000, and that gives us 0.44. So now what we do is we 0.44, and we're looking for weeks in this question. So we times it by 52 to get our weeks, and it gives us 23 weeks. So what we know there for is 3 years and 23 weeks that the project has been paid off, because we know it's before year 4, because in year 4 we have got a positive number. So we know it's between year 3 and year 4. We know it wasn't at the beginning of year 3 because 200,000 is still due. So we use our cash flow, we use our cumulative cash flow for year 3. So we do 200,000 divided by 450,000, giving us 0.44, times that by the weeks, giving us 23 weeks, and 3 years and 23 weeks. So this is an exam question that you may see. Okay, it's from a past AQA spec, but it's a good question to practice on. So we've got Peter Nicholson wishes to convert the factory in the northeast to production of the electric taxi. Using the data in Appendix C, Table 1, calculate the payback period and the average rate of return. We are just, within this video, we are just going to concentrate on the payback period. So what I need to do, again, pause the video, have a go, read all the different data that is from the case study below, which I've copied for you, and have a go at working out the payback period. So the first thing you need to do is you need to look at the Table 1, just here, okay? So you need to look at year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Now we know in year 0 we're going to have the cost of the investment, which is 10 million. So what we do is we create our cumulative cash flow chart. Now you should have something along these lines. So if you do 10 million, okay, so you've got minus 10 million plus 2.4 million, you should get minus 7.6 million. Then we do a minus 7.6 million plus our 3 million, and we should get minus 4.6. Minus 4.6 plus our 4 million, we should get minus 0.6, and then plus 5.8, and we've got 5.2. So we know that in year 3, the investment gets paid off, because we know by year 4 it's already been paid off, and they've got a cumulative cash flow of 5.2 million. So we need to find out when exactly in year 3 that they've paid it off. So we just follow the same steps as we did in the last one. So to start off with, what we do is we have our 600,000, where we got that from. We got it from here, minus 0.6, and then we divide it by our 5.8 million, and where we got that from is here. And rounded, we'll get 0.1 or 0.10, and then we times that by 52 to get it in weeks. And again, rounded, we get 5.4, so we know it's 5.4 weeks, but our final answer will be 3 years and 5.4 weeks. So that will be our final answer to get us 4 marks on this 8-mark question. Remember, the other 4 marks comes from average rate of return. This is the mark scheme. Obviously, they've not rounded it like we have, but you'd still get the marks of 5.4. What they've got is 5.38, but again, it doesn't matter as long as you show that you've rounded it up. But they've also shown it in months as well. So they've got 3 years and 1.24 months, or 3 years and 5.38 weeks, or 3 years and 38 days, and that will get you the marks.